Hello guys, I cannot believe I'm back, but yes, we are going to do a combined review today, focus on women, storytelling and terror, and also a bit of history, and I will tell you why in a moment. Today we are going to be focusing on a non-fiction illustrated album, or at least the first part of one of those. That explores different women in history, and this is a book called Mujeres. So it's written in Spanish by Isabel Ruiz Ruiz, and also we are going to explore a little bit of terror short stories written by an English, I think it's a 19th century writer that maybe some of you know because of children's stories. So this is it. This is our goal for today. Ready? Go. Oh, one thing, if you don't know me, my name is Clara and you're new to this channel. So this is the ink path where I talk about books, the books I read, the books I want, and the books I discover. But I also talk about them in English, as you can probably tell, and in Spanish, so you can select which playlist do you want to actually follow. Maybe you want to listen to review in English, but you're able to read in Spanish, so maybe you can find a mix and match about Spanish authors and English speaker authors that I may have found along the way. Now is the time to start. Ready? Go! As I said before, the first book I'm going to mention is this one, Mujeres by Isabel Ruiz Ruiz. This is a crowdfunding project where the author has compiled different historical important female figures in a illustrated tiny book that actually it's very well edited, and I love the hardback and the texture of the covers. It's really nice. She even did the drawings, which I think they were amazing. I will show you a little bit of how is the the book just hit me in the face, but as I was saying, I'm going to try and show you a little bit of how is the interior and how does it work. For instance, we are going to pick Florence Nightingale. Let's see. Yes, this is how the book is from the inside. You have a very short, let's see if you're able to see it. This is Florence Nightingale example. So you have on one side of the page, you have you can see summarized biography and a reminder of why Florence Nightingale is important. So you have a very summarized biography and also her own merits on the, I think it's nursery field, and also you have a quote that I will turn around the book to tell you more or less what it says. So every woman in this book has a summarized biography and the importance of her merits and why is she known, and also a short quote that it's like it's important within her own story that was recorded or remembered by people of her time, so that's why she is famous, or is an example of what she thought. The quote is of course in Spanish as the rest of the book, so I will do my best to do a translation of it. Then, nursery is an art, and if it's meant to be an art, it requires a devotion as exclusive and a preparation as hard as the work of a painter or a sculptor. And this is one of the cases. There are other stories in here related to politics, related to human rights or civil rights, related to, I don't know, cinema or painting or mathematics. I feel like this book in particular, it's really intriguing. It seems it can be thought about a children's book, and I think children can read it as well, because maybe some of your kids are more into non-fiction at some point, or are intrigued by the beautiful drawings. I feel like it's a perfect book for both ages, like for children and adults as well, because I want to learn more about historical female figures. And maybe this is a quick, short book, but it's a way of getting into who is who, and maybe you can start reading more about certain women in history after you have discovered this accessible book that compiles some of them. Of course, you can, as I said, read it with kids, because I think it's an easy read. Maybe not the smaller kids, but from 8 to 8 or 10 years old onwards. I think this is an easy read that is very compelling because of the drawings. And if they are more interested in non-fiction, which is also as interesting as fiction, they can start from here, and maybe they want to read something else, something more specific about one woman in particular. I know that this book has 2 sequels more, where different women of history are compiled, and I definitely think I need to have them all, because I have found this author very intriguing, and I love how she picked different women from different areas of expertise. And I found one in particular that I cannot show you here because I didn't find you in the first place, but I found that, to me as a disabled person, having Helen Keller within these little stories is very important, and it wants me to not only read her other Mujeres volumes or books, but I want to read more of some of these in particular in another kind of more extensive format. I hope you like this book, because we have another one to go. Let me just pick it up. Okay, so the last one I'm going to talk about you today is an Edith Nesbit book. This book is published in Spanish by La Biblioteca de Carfax, which is a tiny publisher company that actually published terror and terror novels and terror short stories, such as this one. Probably you know Edith Nesbit because of her children kind of books, but apparently this author of the 19th century also wrote short stories centered around terror and terror themes, such as ghosts, apparitions, and themes that have to go with the underworld. In my case, it's my first Edith Nesbit story, and I bought it the night this collection, not only this book, but the whole terror collection was presented on the Halloween night, and we had a theme kind of costume party. We also had a tiny contest related not only to this book but to the rest of the collection, and I decided to pick this up because I am a very scary kind of person. I get scared very, very easily, and I decided to pick something, I normally love kind of classic literature, English literature. I've read, as I told you in the last video, I love Jane Austen, I love the Brontes, and I decided to pick this one up because I didn't know Edith Nesbit from before, and I didn't want to read a whole book made of or designed to be a terror book. So I decided that maybe short stories were the best choice in my case, because if I like the style, I could pick other Edith Nesbit books, or if I like the collection of short stories of terror, I could pick something more of them. So yes, this one is what I pick, and it's called Relatos sombrios. These are 9 short stories that are centered around ghosts, as I said before. And to me, the most striking element of the whole 9 short stories is that it actually focuses more on the senses the different senses are very present in all the stories, and at some point some kind of certain sense, maybe the smell, maybe the sight, is very relevant to the story, and to see the proper apparition or the proper ghost or the proper demon, whatever it is. It's very focused. Maybe it's the sight, maybe it's the smell, maybe it's whatever. I think it's very interesting to see that. And I also think that women in these stories are very concealed, very, very, proper for the time period. But also, once they become the supernatural being, the ghost, they are freed, and their freedom is shown by cursing or by tormenting the man that caused them pain, or releasing this kind of phantasmagorical appearance to it. But it's only my take. I love this story as well. Is this true that maybe not all the short stories were as compelling as I thought, but the overview is quite nice, and I think it's a good start for a very scary person such as me. Well, this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are new, as I said before, you can join. Click subscribe, it's over there. And also don't forget to click the little bell that is beside it, because otherwise you probably miss if I upload any kind of video at all. Of course, you can give me a like if you want, and maybe you can recommend me some other Edith Nesbit book if you have more knowledge of the author than I do. Which kind of scary books would you recommend me to pick up, knowing what I've read so far? Have you read any books that, non-fiction books, or maybe fiction, I'm okay with both, that actually talk about real women, or if they are fiction, that they invent stories surrounding real historical figures that are actually female? I would love to read them. Give me your recommendation down below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next week. Bye!